Welcome to Bits of History, brought to you by the Seward Community Library and Museum, the best place to go to learn more about Seward's history. My name is Lee Pileski, and this bit of history is about the man our town is named for, William H. Seward. John Belaine selected the name Seward for the new town he founded in 1903 because, as he explained in a letter to President Theodore Roosevelt, the great service rendered by Secretary of State William H. Seward in the purchase of Alaska would be appropriately commemorated in the bestowal of his name on a town likely to become the metropolis of Alaska, and in time one of the most important cities of the Pacific Coast. William H. Seward was born in Florida, New York on May 16, 1801, to Samuel and Mary Seward. His father was a doctor, state legislator, judge, ran a mercantile business, and at age 80 started a school in Florida. William attended Union College in Schenectady, New York. In 1822, he passed the bar exam and set up a law office in Auburn, New York, where he married and raised his family. His home has been preserved and is open to the public. He married Frances Miller in 1824. The couple had 4 children: Augustus, 1826, Frederick, 1830, William, 1839, and Fanny, 1844. Seward became involved in politics at an early age and served in the New York State Senate from 1830 to 34, was governor of New York from 1838 to 1840, and was a United States Senator from 1849 to 1855. He left the Whig Party in 1855 and joined the new Republican Party, having always been anti-slavery. He was considered a favorite to win the Republican nomination for president in 1860, but lost to Abraham Lincoln. Lincoln appointed Seward Secretary of State, and during the Civil War, he handled with skill the delicate relations of the United States with foreign nations. On the evening of April 14, 1865, when John Wilkes Booth shot Abraham Lincoln, a fellow conspirator, Lewis Thornton Powell, was to assassinate Seward, who was bedridden, recovering from a carriage accident. Powell forced his way into Seward's home and attacked him in his bed, but was fought off by Seward's sons, Frederick and Augustus, his daughter Fanny, and the army nurse assigned to Seward, Sergeant George F. Robinson. Powell fled, but was later captured, tried, and hanged. After Lincoln's assassination, Seward continued as Secretary of State under President Andrew Johnson. Before the Civil War, Seward had discussed the possibility of the purchase of Alaska and renewed his efforts after the war. Seward was a believer in manifest destiny and had no doubt that eventually Canada would become a part of the United States. He saw the purchase of Alaska as a step in that direction. Russia realized that it couldn't defend Alaska and that eventually either the United States or Great Britain would take it over. So it was willing to sell it to the United States, with which it had good relations. Seward and the Russian minister Edward de Stockel had reached an agreement on the purchase and were awaiting the approval of the Russian Tsar Alexander II. On the evening of April 29, 1867, Seward was at home when Stockel was announced. He said the Tsar accepted their agreement and they could write and sign a treaty the next day. Seward said, "Why wait until tomorrow, Mr. Stockel? Let us make the treaty tonight." Working all night, they and their staffs finished the treaty, and it was signed at 4 a.m. on March 30th. The signing is commemorated each year in Alaska on Seward's Day, the last Monday in March. Russia quickly approved the treaty, and the United States Senate approved it on April 9, 1867, by a vote of 39 to 2. The House of Representatives had to vote the funds to pay for the purchase, but differences with President Johnson over Reconstruction and his impeachment trial caused delays. The House finally voted the funds on July 14, 1868 by a vote of 113 to 43 with 44 abstentions. Years later, when Seward was asked what was the most significant act of his career, he declared, "The purchase of Alaska." At the same time as the Alaska purchase, Seward reached an agreement with Denmark to buy 2 of the 3 Virgin Islands for $7.5 million, but the Senate refused to ratify that treaty. In 1917, the United States paid Denmark $25 million for all 3 of those Caribbean islands. With the end of the Johnson administration in 1869, Seward retired as Secretary of State. After leaving office, he made a trip around the world. He visited Alaska in 1869, arriving at Sitka on July 31st. In an address to the citizens of that town, he said, "The political society to be constituted here, first as a territory and ultimately as a state or many states, will prove a worthy constituency of the Republic." A bust of William H. Seward was erected in Seward as a part of the Seward Centennial celebration. The bust was sculptured by local artist Dennis Treadwell and funded by the First National Bank Alaska. Unveiled on September 20th, 2003, it is located in a small park to the south of the First National Bank on 4th and Adams. Seward died in Auburn, New York on October 10th, 1872, and was buried in a local cemetery.